Welcome everyone back to Curiosities. I'm JV Torres, and I'm joined by a very good friend of mine and frequent guest on this program, Mike McDonald. But before we bring Mike into this conversation, I just want to have a few words with the audience about what's been happening in this country and what took place last week regarding the former president Donald Trump. And I want to be clear about a couple of things. In the past, you've always seen me very jovial, very, kind of goofing and telling jokes and being unserious about a lot of the topics that I talk about. But this is something that I think is extremely, extremely important, and one that I don't think I'm going to bring the clownish suit that I normally do to this platform, because I think what's happening in this country is extremely serious, and it's a travesty of the judicial system of the worst kind that I have ever witnessed in my lifetime. And from what I'm hearing from people that are far older than me, the worst that they have ever seen in their lifetimes as well. And I've been kind of thumbing through some historical archives, trying to find something that was even remotely close to this injustice. And I will want to come back to that term injustice later. But I think what happened to former President Donald Trump in the courtrooms in New York was an absolute injustice of the worst sort, because it sets a precedence now that will set this country on a pretty destructive path. I don't know if there's coming back from this. I don't believe that there is. I don't feel that there is. And I don't even know what that looks like. I don't even know what going back looks like. I don't even know what normal would be going forward. So I know I seem like I know I have a very serious tone in this, and there's a reason for that, because I think that the time has come for us to stop kidding ourselves. What is happening to our country, what is happening to our republic, is not a democracy. What is happening in our country is an absolute travesty. What's happening in our country is the fruition of decades and decades of corruption. It is a hidden tyranny, I think, and I'd like to expand on that if I get a chance. But what we have is not freedom. What we're having is the lack of freedom. What we're having is the destruction of freedom. And it all comes down to the weaponization of the legal system. And with that, I'd like to bring in this question that I present to you, Mr. Mike McDonald. The question is there a two-tiered justice system in America? And if so, where are those examples in Mike McDonald's sphere?
Well, to answer that question, you have to go back a little further than just recently. You need to look at the Summer of Love. And the Summer of Love is a really good example of how one group supporting one ideology can go through and basically commit all sorts of crime, wreak havoc, cause billions of dollars of damage, murder dozens of people. And because they're wearing masks and it was nighttime, they couldn't be found, right? If you remember the testimony from, the powers that be that were supposedly investigating this,
well, we couldn't find them because they were doing masks and it was dark outside.
And so, but yet you have, the January 6th people, anybody who was there, whether they were committing violence or not, and I'll be the first to say, hey, the dumbasses that were engaging in violence, hey, prosecute them for engaging in violence. But to blanket the entire group as insurrectionists, it's kind of hard to commit an insurrection without what's that word? Oh yeah, weapons. And so they were prosecuted. Some of them are still behind bars. People that weren't even there have been in prison now, sentencing for 20 plus years. Okay. And they're all white supremacists. Well, the problem is one of the guys is a black Cuban guy. How did he become a white supremacist? I don't know. And so, and then you can go through this entire litany of events where one party does it, the other party doesn't. Joe Biden was, before he was president, before he was during his vice presidency and during while time he was a senator, he brought home classified documents. Hillary Clinton brought home classified documents. She had destroyed the evidence. Those are all separate crimes. They were not prosecuted. Okay? One, because he's a doddering old man. He couldn't be well, if he's a doddering old man, then he shouldn't be president. Now, should he? Right?
Right. I'd like to stay on point, though, Mike. You laid out a pretty good argument in that there is a two-tiered system when you look at the big fish here. You look at the Clintons, who basically did, even Bill Clinton himself had hush money payments, and it's on record. It's, in fact, they had big press conferences with Paula, what was her name, Paula Jones, holding a big check that she'd gotten from the Clintons. And there was the media. See, this is why I think there's a two-tiered system, and I think that there's an entire mechanism that's at play here, that's working in unison, and the media is part of that, because they will run cover for the Bidens, they'll run cover for the Clintons and any Democrat, basically.
They're not running cover for them specifically. They're running cover for the entire party.
They're running cover for the DNC. Anything with anybody with a D in front of them, to the point now, Mike, where they're basically trying to excuse pedophilia. They're trying to excuse people robbing and stealing and insider trading, like the Pelosi's. They make all kinds of excuses for these people.
Why do you think?
Meanwhile,
hang on. Why do you think Joe Manchin left the party?
Oh yes, this was reported yesterday that Joe Manchin of West Virginia, of your state, decided he's not going to be affiliated with the Democratic Party anymore. He has had enough. Now, there could be politics involved with that, Mike, to be fair. I mean, if he's going to have a D in front of his name,
Democrats,
it's a deep red state, man. There could be politics involved, although I do commend him for rescinding his Democrat affiliation. I certainly did many years ago. I am not affiliated with the Democratic Party anymore. I think since 2010, maybe. I've been an independent ever since 2010. Definitely during the Obama second term is when I said I've had enough of this party. So you can imagine if I had enough of this party 14 years ago.
Well, yeah.
It's my disdain for this Democratic Party has only deepened so deep, so I don't even know the word to say to express just how much disappointment and distrust that I have in the Democrat. Nothing that comes out of any Democrat's mouth do I believe. None.
You saw the writing on the wall 14 years ago.
Certainly did.
I saw the writing on the wall before I could even vote, right? You know a bit of my history about how my mom kind of brought me up.
Your mother was very, very adamantly a Republican. Now, see, here's the thing, Mike. I'm not a Republican. Yeah. And people have asked me, why don't I just become a Republican? Because I align with a lot of the Republicans in the way that, and I'm talking about the traditional Republicans. I mean, if you look at people, because then you have to stand with people like Mitt Romney. You have had to stand with people like
Lindsey Graham.
All these two-faced snakes, and I'm not with that, man. So
even back in the 90s, my mom hated Lindsey Graham in the early 90s. She was, she's like
related to Bob Graham, was he?
What's that?
He wasn't related to Bob Graham, was he? Bob Graham was a staunch Florida Democrat.
I don't know, but my mom despised
maybe before your time. Never mind.
Yeah,
my mom looked like him, but anyway.
Oh yeah, and it's altogether possible. You know what I mean? But there are redeemable, or there are certain Republicans that are redeemable, that are actually good. I like Kennedy from Louisiana. He's really good. He's the one that pops into mind. Romney's got to go. Romney's useless as balsa wood tires.
Right.
And just to give a couple of examples, but the thing is that there are, Mitch McConnell, he should have gone 15 years ago.
Yeah, I agree.
The fact that he hasn't keeled over and expired yet is befuddling. But if he was a Democrat and he keeled over, they'd vote for him anyway, because the Democrats have now voted in 3 dead people, for office, and their spouses have taken over, which I think is really, how does that? I don't want to get off track here.
Right.
But
right. So we're definitely meandering from the question, which is, do we have a two-tiered system? I think we're both in agreement that there is, because there's an unfairness in the way they proceed with litigation with regard to whether there's an R in front of their name or a D in front of their name, being that if you're a Democrat, you basically get away with murder and do whatever you want to do. Whereas if you're a Republican, you're going to get put in jail, even if you're the front runner for the GOP nomination. I mean, listen, I think what's happening in this country is an absolute an absolute nightmare. And
Yeah.
I said this earlier, Mike, I don't know if we can come back from this. A part of me says that we can't. And a part of me says that the only way we can is if something extremely drastic happens. And I don't even know. I don't even want to entertain that, at least not on this program. But I will say this about Trump. I think he got an unfair deal. Nobody with a working brain cell really believes that whole trial was justified.
Yeah.
And and I will mention this that on Facebook, and there's a couple of threads on there where I've had some colorful people thinking that they can get on my Facebook threads and start to antagonize me. And when I put them on blast and say, well, then let's go on this program and let's do a live chat, you and I debate the issue. Of course, they always they take the coward's way out, and they're like, "Oh no, I'm not going to do that." And I'll tell you why, Mike. And I'm going to lay it out here for you right now before we close out this episode, because we got to continue. We're going to have to do more of these, by the way. Mike, the reason why these people who decide they want to try to challenge me through their keyboard warriorship, and then decline the invitation to debate me either on Facebook Live or on this program, is because they realize one very staunch thing. Well, they realize one very important thing. And that is you're entering into my domain, right? And I'm very open about this. I'm very upfront about it. These are my terms, my rules, and this is my show. And so anybody with at least a spark of a brain activity would realize that you're walking into a trap. Because I don't care who the individual is. It could be Bill Maher. It could be the wittiest guy you can find. If you're on this show, you can bet your bottom dollar that through editing and whatnot, I'm going to make you look like an absolute clown. I'm going to make you look like a fool, okay? Because of the tricks of editing or just letting you speak. Because first of all, if you truly believe that this whole verdict in New York was justified and that Trump is a criminal, if you truly believe that based on what the media is telling you, you are an idiot. You are an absolute buffoon. So the
question is simple. The question is really
like that. And entering this domain, I'm going to eviscerate you.
Yeah.
So no, you're not going to have a chance. You're not going to even have a chance. And that's precisely the point, Mike. That's precisely the point. Because Donald Trump never had a chance. He was going there and they were going to turn him into sliced bacon, just like anybody that would get on this program. If I want to do anything, I will. And I absolutely will.
Yeah, dude, there were so many reversible errors that was done by the prosecution, by the DA, the fact that they wouldn't let him present exculpatory evidence. They wouldn't let him bring him any witnesses. Virtually the grand majority of objections that were presented by defense counsel were overruled. Okay. And so you had two perjurers, one a convicted perjurer and another that committed perjury on the stand. Okay, I could care less what Stormy Daniels. He's a former porn star. Who gives a shit, right? Yeah. I don't care. I really don't. Whether or not they had sex, don't care, right? Billionaires, huh?
She went back and forth on it. First she didn't, then she did, then she didn't, then she did, then he was a gentleman, then he wasn't. So I mean, she's obviously a liar. Cohen was a complete liar, a convicted, perjurer. Well, these are the people that you uphold and say, "Oh, it's their testimony." Come on, man? No, listen, no. The gloves have come off, Mike.
Maybe Stormy is proof you can't have a vitamin D overdose.
Listen, Stormy Daniels, okay, is a piece of trash, tramp. Okay, and if you believe her and her testimony, you are a piece of trash, tramp too.
Believe all women.
I don't believe that crap at all. I think what's happened, you know what?
I believe believable stories.
I believe believable stories. Mike, this is almost 15 minutes. So this has gone a little longer. I don't know how we got here this fast, but we're here.
We always do, bro. We always
do. I'm gonna leave us there, and then we're gonna come back on another one. Hopefully, we were able to hold your interest, because clearly, I mean, almost 15 minutes gone by here on our end, and it's like, geez, like where did all the time go? Hit that like button, share this video with others. This is a very important time in our country. Hopefully the patriots will unite and will come together. Maybe the Republicans will grow a pair and solidify their spine. That's probably the only hope we'll have. And you know something? They haven't delivered yet, Mike. There's nothing that lead me to believe that they actually will.
We'll cover this in the next bit because I think that's changing.
Okay.
I think yeah.
So listen up, people, and I hope Mike gets you've been off the Republic Courier for a minute. You need to get back on there, kid.
Yeah, I know. I've there's a lot of things going on, and my household is changing. So yeah, I've got.
You like the new get up, man? You like the new setup back here?
That's awesome.
Maybe this will inspire you to get your shit going.
Hey, my background's real nice. Okay, these AI generated guitars are amazing.
Oh yes. Everyone, that's Mike McDonald. I'm JV Torres. Please hit that like button. Share this video with others. Hopefully you'll subscribe if you haven't done so already. If you're watching on X, follow me. If you're watching on Rumble, please share this video with others. Until next time, Mike, God bless.